All right, thanks again. Thanks for joining us here. I'm John Harris, Education Account Representative for the Central US. I'm here to give you a training today on Epson's BrightLink interactive projector. Within the webinar, you can ask questions in the chat box if you like during the webinar. I have an assistant here with me to help answer questions. And then also there's some handouts about how to connect with your education account rep if you aren't in the Central US. Okay, so you can download that all from the handout section in the webinar control panel, as well if you have questions as we go on, feel free to ask them there. We'll answer them in line or at the end of the session. So let's go ahead and get started here today. So first thing I want to let you know is that I have behind me here on the screen a BrightLink 770 Fi projector. We have 4 projectors in the interactive line. There's some slight variation amongst the models, but most of the features you'll find across all 4 models. The thing to know about the BrightLink interactive projectors is the standard projector that you would buy comes with 2 pins only, and the touch interactivity is an add-on. And you get the touch interactivity with the projector by adding this module at the top. So as we go through the presentation today, you'll see me use both pen and my finger touch since we have that enabled here. It's really up to your preference. All the things that you can do by the pens, you can do by touching the screen as well. So just a little bit about what you see in here behind me. This is the home screen for the BrightLink interactive projector. And this kind of simplifies things for your teachers or the people that use the projector that can go up and they can see all the different types of sources that you get connected to the projector. So you can see you've got the option to connect 3 HDMI devices. You can also use VGA if you still have that connection, USB for things like document cameras or other accessories, as well as a LAN connection. You can do screen mirroring via Miracast. You can also do a video connection from a DVD or a Blu-ray player, right? So lots of ways to connect here. As well, on the home screen, you have the option to power the device off over here when you're done. And then you've got some key icons down here at the bottom for connecting things like the built-in whiteboard, splitting the screen into multiple sources, and some guides, and also even some basic settings for the projector. So that's all available to you right when you power up the projector. And easy to use, easy to find. But really, I think where we want to start today is, the most basic functionality of this projector. You can always use it to display regular content from connected devices like Windows computers, MacBooks, Chromebooks, tablets, other devices. But the projector itself comes with a built-in digital whiteboard, right? So we're going to start there. We're just going to show you some features about the built-in digital whiteboard. And the way that you access that is right down here with this icon at the bottom. So I'm just going to tap the whiteboard and open it up, and we'll talk a little bit about what you get with that. So now that I've got my whiteboard opened up, a couple things that you'll want to notice is first and foremost over here on the side, right over here, you've got a ribbon of control options here for some of the activities you'll be doing with the whiteboard. So we'll talk about those in a minute. The other key items to note is your annotation toolbar down here, and then as well as some toolbars over here that you have. We'll talk about what each of these do. The first sort of tip that I think I want to show is about how the toolbar, you can move it around on the screen a little bit. The default location for it is going to be down here at the bottom. But if you do prefer it to the right or the left, you can drag it over to the side of your board like I did right there and get your ribbon over here if you prefer it over there and not down at the bottom. Just simply, once again, drag it with your finger or the pen. Similarly, you can drag it over to this side or even up to the top. So if you have a preferred location for that toolbar, that's one tip there, that you can go ahead and use your finger or the pen to move that toolbar to the location you want. So another thing, a little tip about how to use the BrightLink interactive projector with the pens, you do have the ability to pop up a little quick menu of the inking tools, right? So the pens themselves, you get 2 pens. You get one coated with blue on the end here. You get another one coated with orange. And really the reason for that is because you can set these pens to either different colors ink or different functionalities. And you get a little legend down here that shows you the orange pen for me is set to red, the blue pen is set to blue, and then I have my finger is set to the eraser. So this little legend is going to be important for you when you're looking into what setting any of your writing tools or action tools are set to. But the little button on here, you can check to see if your battery is working by pressing that to get the light, or when you're up here at the board and you press that button, you can get a quick menu. You can actually change some of the features on that button. You can go into the projector menu using the remote and go into the projector settings with the remote and actually find the pen settings. And you can change that button to be, for example, always just be the eraser. Or you can use it in other functionalities. Well, you can have it not active if you don't want it active. But you have about 2 or 3 settings that you can change for the pen and that little button. But really, if you're working and you really just need it quickly to get up here and you want to make some notations, you can press that button and set it to bring up that quick menu for the ink. Just kind of moving away from the annotation toolbar for a moment, back over to the side. Over here along this menu here, we'll just kind of run through what you have here. So this gives you the ability to open files either from your USB connected drive or a network location. And then here, if you wanted to insert files, and we'll do a little bit of this later, we'll bring some files in. This is where you would also be able to grab those files. So you see, we'll go into this folder in just a little bit for our demo files and import some files into the whiteboard. Or if you have network locations and you have access to those, you can get into those network locations, grab files and import them into the digital whiteboard as well, right? And just to reiterate, we're doing all this without being connected to our normal PC that we would use to run the class, right? This is just a PC-free digital whiteboard at this point. You can also scan. We have a printer connected over here. I'll use that in a little bit as well in the demo. I've got a document on there. I'll scan that and bring that into the whiteboard as well, right? So some ways there to insert images. Something that's pretty common in schools is teachers like to import a background to load into their whiteboard. Sometimes that background is a background that contains lines or a grid or so forth, right? You can pull in your gridded paper for a math class, or a line paper if you have the students coming up here to practice their writing. These are just some of the built-in backgrounds. We'll talk a little bit about how you can go in here and pull in a background from another source and add that. But we just want to clear that, bring it back to our whiteboard for now. Another nice feature of sort of setting the background template here for the projector. Just still running down the sideline here. This is a tool that you might use a lot as you go into the projector and say you are planning out your day, your lesson. Right, here's page 1 of my lesson. And then when I'm ready to go ahead and add a new page, you can see down here at the bottom, you've got a little square icon. That just adds page 2. And we can add more pages as we go along, if that's what we want to do, right? So once you get your pages, you can now see we have pages 1, 2, and 3 over here to the left. We can X out a page if you want to just delete that current page. Now you're back to 2. We can add pages here, and we can also copy, right? So we'll just delete that current page there, right? So this is a tool, and then when you're ready to, if you want to remove your page ribbon, you just open this up and close this out, right? And then deleting the current page again. So we're back to just 1 page. But those are your most basic tools over here, the ability to import, add backgrounds, even zoom in on some of the content if that's what you need to do, right? So some basic tools over here as well as your ribbon for all your pages. You can add up to, I believe, 50 pages in the built-in digital whiteboard, so you can get pretty elaborate with a lesson plan that you create in here, if that's what you want to do. I guess at this point, probably good to just go over this toolbar down at the bottom. So as I mentioned, if you have the pen-only projectors, you'll have 2 pens, blue and orange, coded on the pen. And then within this legend, this is pretty standard for annotation tools. You have the ability to choose a pen, the pen thickness, a highlighter, the thickness, or choose some basic shapes if you wanted to add those in. I'll just grab, let's just grab a circle, bring that in. Maybe we want to put another one over here, and we'll change our pen color real quickly here. I'll go ahead and touch. And there we go. So maybe we wanted to add some features to the page like that. You know, going back in here, as I mentioned, you've got your pens, your thickness, your ability to then choose the colors, all those basic colors, or the eraser. You know, many people like to use their hand for the eraser. They have the unit that does both. We just come in here and go ahead and clear off these items, right? So pens, annotation tools, ink, shapes, all that good stuff down here. Eraser, or for example, marquee tool. If I want to select a group of items, move it around, resize it, duplicate it, you can do all those things easily from that marquee tool, right? If you need to rearrange it, move it around, all of that. So that's how the marquee tool works. Once again, some basic features over here: duplicate, copy, delete, any of those, but really nice when you need to resize or move around your content on the page. And let's just clear my screen real quick. Well, and that's another little icon down here at the toolbar that you want to be familiar with, right? You do have the ability, for example, to just simply go back or forward with some back or forward buttons. So if you're working, you make a little mistake, you want to go back, forward, you can do that right here, right? And then option to clear the entire screen if you just don't want to erase with your hands. Let's grab this and get another color. We're good there. Okay. Okay, so that's a little bit about the built-in digital whiteboard. As I mentioned, we wanted to pull in some content into this whiteboard, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. So we have a USB drive connected here to the projector. That's coming down over here. We've got it connected on a cable that goes into the back of the projector, but many people have a wall outlet, or we sell a couple different kinds of control boxes that you can connect to the projector and then plug your USB stick into. So if that's where you've got your content, like we do, for example, you can come in here, and you know, a pretty common thing that you might do is pull in something like, let's see what we got here. You know, sometimes for athletic departments, one of the things they like to do is pull in files that show their school's field, right? If they want to do their sort of game plan on this, draw their X's and O's, they can just come in here and do this, right? And let's just make that line a little thicker. And we know this person's always going to want to get over here and get into the goal, right? So this would be an example of simply importing an image. You know, that's one way to do it, but that's just importing an image into the page. You could also have set this as a background. And what that does when you set it as a background versus just importing it as an image, if you watch here and I clear the screen, it's going to go ahead and remove that background there. But if I go in here and do the same thing and do it as a background, for example, we can add our annotations. You know, here's the region I cover basically in the central US. I'm from St. Louis. Now I work here in California, right? And if I want to clear the screen, as you can see, it's just going to remove the annotations that I have right there, right? We can go back, or we can clear the screen, whatever you want to do. But when you import as a background, your images stay locked into the background, right? Just once again, going back into our files, you know, we want to import another file. Maybe, for example, we want to pull in this math lesson. This might be an example, of just pulling in a simple PDF, grabbing the marquee tool, highlighting this content, and then duplicating it, right? And so now maybe you have a couple students, you can come up here and they can work simultaneously at the board, right? They can come up here and both work at the board at the same time. You can have multiple students working with both the pens and also up to 5 individual points of finger cuts. So it's real easy to get multiple people working up here at the board at the same time, all right? So just another example of how you would pull in content, duplicate that, then ask the students to come up and interact at the board if that's what you want to do. Sort of moving through, I think now's a good time for me to show a little bit about connecting with your PC, right? So one of the things that many teachers do with this is they use content from websites, other activities, and so forth that's based on the web, right? So the typical connection for the BrightLink interactive projector is 2 cables. One's going to be your HDMI cable for all your video and audio. The second's going to be USB for interactivity. In most cases, you're going to need both of those cables plugged in. And if you're not using those cables, we have some ways that you can go completely wireless, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But that just brings me back here to our home screen. And so as you can see on HDMI 1, I've got my computer set up, and I'm just going to go ahead and tap that here and bring up the screen. This is just a quick example of a Google education website that's a bit interactive. You can see I'm able to just simply, I've pulled up the screen, and we'll go back. I didn't really want to go to the piano just yet. It looks like we're there. And you can see I'm able to come up here and touch. You could have your students come up here and play with the piano, work out a little tune. And all of this is just touch interactive, right? Or you can use the pens much like you could use a mouse. See if I can get to the site I want. Apologies. Okay, so just more content here. I like the spectrogram. It gives nice little colors, but you can just tap on an instrument and bring up the spectrogram of the trombone there. Or maybe some of your students are more into making electronic music. You can bring up this content and discuss this, interact with it, and all of that. Another example, just simply here, we'll go to the rhythm. So you can see here, there's a lot of ways that you can use the BrightLink by simply connecting to the websites that you use all the time to interact with your students and your class, right? We'll do one more here just to show how easy it is to move around. But this is, like I mentioned, the BrightLink is on the web now, connected. And as you can hear, the built-in speakers are quite nice, but we also do sell some additional powered speakers if you feel like you need a boost for sound in your classroom. So this is just an example of interacting with the BrightLink projector using a website, right? So that's easy enough to do. One more thing I want to show is that, if you're looking to build lesson plans, if you don't have a website where your lesson plans are created or sort of semi-formed and you can manipulate them, we do have a free software called Easy Interactive Tools that does allow you to build lessons that are interactive, to allow your students to come up and interact with the board and use the tools. I prefer to use my hand a lot of times, so I'm just going to come down here and select my pin and settings there. And as you can see, we've got a nice little English lesson here. You can go in, and the class decided to go to the store. When we got there, we started to shop. You can see where this is going, right? We noticed that the store was busy. So this is just page 1 of a document that I created with our software. We can go ahead and head over to page 2. You know, this is just another example of activities where maybe you have the students come up and they have to move the living things over to, for example, this circle, and the non-living things over here. Right, so just easily built within our easy interactive tools. You've got the shape tools, you've got some text tools. You can build these kind of simple and basic lessons as you need, right? And that's all free from Epson. No licensing for that. You can install it on as many devices as you want. This is going to allow you to save your lessons, come back to them, work on them later, make adjustments. You can see another just quick, simple task here where maybe you need to come in and circle the mountains in blue in this example. So I get my blue pen. I see one down here. Let's see, here's another over here. And this is the kind of example of getting used to using the toolbar, having your content, accessing what you need, you know, and moving on. So then finally, maybe one more page in here, you know, just a simple, another example of how to set up a basic sort of word find exercise. So you can see how this works. And it's just as simple as tapping that marquee, grabbing the items you want, moving them around, right? So once again, this is just the easy interactive tools software. It basically mimics the whiteboard that's built in. But if you're a person that's working on your PC and you like all those features of the built-in digital whiteboard, you can come and use the easy interactive tools, and it's going to mimic those features, but give you some other functionality as well that's not included in the whiteboard. So that's an easy, free tool to use from Epson called Easy Interactive Tools. You can download that right from the Epson website. You find the BrightLink projector you have, you look for the support and downloads link, and you'll find the Easy Interactive Tools latest version down there for download. So that's a real nice free tool for you to use to sort of take the projector to the next level. You know, I think this is a good time for me to also segue into some of the other ways that you can connect to the projector. So as I mentioned before, there are 2 key ways that you can eliminate the wires from the projector and go completely wireless. And the first of those is called eye projection. That's a free software from Epson that you would install on your Windows computer, Mac computer, Chromebook, and other devices. And that allows you to wirelessly connect to the projector on the LAN connection here. So I'm going to go ahead and disconnect my computer from HDMI and the USB, and quickly go ahead and bring up eye projection. So just a moment while I open the software. And basically what the software is going to do is when you open it up, you're going to have a initial connection screen. We're connecting in what's called the advanced mode, and what that means is both the projector and the connecting device are on the same network, subnet or VLAN, right? They have to be able to see each other. So you open up the device, you can do the advanced mode over the network, or you can do a one-to-one direct connection, but we're in the advanced mode setting. It's going to now look for my projector. It's found my projector in the screen here. and I'm going to go ahead and connect as the moderator for the session. Okay, and now you can see that through that wireless connection, and I guess I'll go ahead and bring my laptop over here so you can now see. I've got my laptop here. I'm now connected on the wireless, and I've got my functionality just as before, right? I can come in here and interact and grab and move content around, you know, add more pages. And all of that without having any wires attached to the BrightLink projector. And that goes, you know, whether you're in Easy Interactive Tools or you're on your websites, you can do all the things that you want to do without any wires connected to the computer. So we know that's really what teachers are looking to do these days. They want to be able to move around the classroom and be able to go to where their students are at in their small groups and bring their computer with them, and still also possibly be able to show on that screen like we're doing now, send some up to the board to work on it. So that's via eye projection. That's free from Epson. Windows users, if you would like, you also have the option to connect via Miracast. That's another way that you can connect with these projectors. So I'm going to go ahead and disconnect from eye projection, and we'll do a quick demo of connecting via Miracast. And then we'll just go back to our home screen real quick. And so for Miracast, the quick shortcut to get connected via Miracast is the Windows logo button and the K button on the keyboard at the same time. That's going to do a similar thing where it's going to go ahead and look for the projector in the room, and it finds my projector. The one like sort of tip there for your IT department is to go ahead and have them name the projectors in each rooms accordingly so they're easy to find. If your room is room 102, have them name the projector that, or some sort of schema where it's easy to find yours if multiple projectors show up on your network. But as you can see, once again, over here, we've got some controls. As you can see, the notes are cast Windows K to pull this up. The one thing you want to know about this is checking the box to allow mouse, keyboard, and control over here. So let's just go ahead and make sure I have my, oh, doesn't want to let me do it right there. Okay, so now I've given it, now I've told the projector, not only do I want to cast my audio and video, but I still want to keep the touch interactivity at the board, right? So once again, all this is being done, you know, wirelessly via Miracast, right? So for Windows users, that's a great option. If you need the ability to have multiple people connect at the same time, teacher and students, that's where you would want to use eye projection, where up to 50 users can use that application to connect to the projector at one time. And the teacher can then show 4 students in a group and show their work up on the screen, which is a good segue into another nice feature of this projector, which is the split screen feature. So I just want to go ahead and show you all that. So let's go ahead and split the screen real quick. Let's see here. I'll go ahead and go back to my home screen. And then we get the option here on the home screen to split our screen. You can do 2 or 4 sources. For now, we're just going to do 2 screens. And now what we've got going on, for example, is we've got our screen mirroring on screen 1. So maybe I needed to pull up some content related to circuit boards and whatnot. And then on screen 2, we have our document camera, which is connected over here to the side. You know, and within this, you have the ability to control where the video comes from, which source, where the audio comes from, which source, and then where the interactivity is, right? So you can see the icons at the top, blue or black, right? So on this side, if we want the audio to come from, for example, screen 2, maybe I'd rather have the audio over here where my web browser is. So I can move that over to screen 1. And then maybe I want the interactivity over here on screen 2 where my dot camera is. And then I just execute that. And let's see, we'll just go in here. All right, and we're able to annotate right here on that side. Actually, the interactivity probably would have been better on this side for this, because this is where my web browser is. But you do have some tools over here that you can use. Let's see here. Let's just go back. We'll put PC interactivity over here. And then you can see I'm able to still interact with this side and this content in a split screen mode. So this is a real nice feature. You get 2 nice big screens, and you can pull up some content and talk about it from either source right there. So really nice feature with the BrightLink is being able to split the screen. Let's show a couple more things I talked about real quickly, and I think we're going to wrap things up pretty soon here. As I mentioned before, you do have the ability to scan, for example. Say you had content that's on a document and you wanted to scan it in, you can certainly do that. So we have our printer and scanner hooked up over here. I want to do color. I'm going to go ahead and do, I think I want this maybe in landscape orientation, and we'll just go ahead and scan that. We'll see how that comes out. So I have a printer right over here, and it's going ahead and scanning my document. Oh, whoops. Let's try that one more time. Does it need to be in the feeder or in the platen? It's under there. For some reason, our scanner is not connecting this morning. I'm not sure exactly why it's not connecting, but essentially with that button, and we'll give it one more try. Cannot connect to the printer, huh? Well, we gave that a test yesterday. We were able to scan the document. We were also able to print the documents, right? So if you have content up here and you wanted to be able to print that, you can print it. We'll give that a try and see if our printer's connected. I believe it was. So sending that to the printer. But yeah, you have the ability to print, email, save, scan content in, and print right from the BrightLink interactive projector. So that's a great feature if you have students and they come up and they make some annotations, do work, and you want to print that and give them a copy. Or if you have content, like I mentioned, that you want to scan, darn it. Looks like we should have tested this a little bit earlier to make sure it printed this morning. But essentially that's the concept there, right? Email, print, and save all from the BrightLink right at the board, right? You don't have to go over to your computer to do any of that. Really nice feature. And that allows you to save multiple pages, print multiple pages. So if you have content that you've created that you like, that's a real great, easy way to go about saving it, sharing it, and all of that. So, today I think that's really all I have for you on the BrightLink tips and tricks. So now's a good time if you have some questions and you want to ask those, go ahead and use the chat, and we'll try to answer those for you now as we have some time. We just got a question again, once again, about how many people can be interacting at the board at the same time. It's got a total of 2 interactive pens and up to 5 additional points of finger touch. So a total of 7 points of touch can be interactive at the board at the same time. We just got another question. People want to know, what are the types of devices that eye projection is available for? So eye projection, the software download, is available for both Windows and Mac computers. And that's available on Epson's website. Just go to the projector you have, look for the drivers and downloads, and find eye projection. You might even want to go in now, and if you're using it, check to see what version you're on. And if you're not on the latest version, go ahead and update that version. But those are the software downloads for Windows and Mac computers. For iPad, iPhone, Android tablets, Chromebooks, you want to go to the respective app stores for those devices and look for Epson eye projection and download the app from those stores for those devices. So really a great free software from Epson. You don't need to license it. You can put it on as many devices as you want. It does have enterprise level password security that you can use. So, you can keep unwanted users out, and that software allows you to connect 50 devices to one projector at one time if you like. Yeah, so we have a question about, what is the sort of latency on eye projection compared to a HDMI cable? You are going to experience a little latency compared to a hardwired connection. A hardwired connection for audio and video is the most simple, most reliable connection from a computer to the projector. And eye projection itself in the projector, they weren't really designed, for example, to stream a full-length, high-definition 4K video, right? There's no PC in the computer to sort of pack and re-spool that content, right? So you might experience a little lag with the audio and video, depending on the high resolution, high bandwidth of that content. What we've seen is that Miracast handles that high bandwidth video content a little better than eye projection. So if you're a Windows user and the content is, sort of semi-long format, high definition YouTube videos, you might want to try the wireless connection via Miracast for a better latency, right? And then some of that, many times is just dependent on your network traffic, right? Is there a lot of stuff going on in your network that may be causing some of that slowdown? But yeah, it's not 100% lag-free in the way that some devices like an Airtame caster or an Apple TV might be, because those have sort of small computers in there to help with that streaming process. So hopefully that gives you a little idea. Yes, the wire is the most reliable, best connection, but eye projection does really well for things like websites, documents, images, and even short form videos. It's just when you get into the long form, high bandwidth stuff that it can be a little laggy. Okay, yep, I'll let them know we're done. Okay, thank you. I think that's all the questions we have for today. Once again, my name is John Harris. There are some handouts that give you the names and contact information for all the K-12 reps that cover the US, as well as some other downloads about the projectors themselves. And then finally, there's going to be a short quiz after this that you'll be sent, not a quiz, but a sort of a survey. Let us know what features, functionality, content you're looking for from these BrightLink trainings. We'll be happy to add those to the agenda. All right, thank you.